Welcome back to Daybreak Live at 4 minutes past the hour. Don't forget to fall back 1 hour Saturday night at 2 a.m. Sunday morning, really. So we're going to go back to standard time, and you'll get that hour's sleep that you lost last spring. And here's two guys who know about sleep, about losing sleep. John Bryan, lieutenant with the Sylacauga Fire Department, along with Clay Upchurch, also lieutenant with Sylacauga Fire. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us today. Y'all seem so excited to be here and all that kind of good stuff. So, hey, saw a story just a couple of days ago about you guys on a fire call and some animals being involved in the fire call. Let's talk about that. I think it's John, a success story, wasn't it?
Yes, sir, it was. We got called in last weekend, probably about 7, for a car fire, and then was quickly updated that it had spread to the house. And I was coming from Station 2, so Lieutenant Clay got there before me, and most of the fire, it seemed like, was extinguished, but there was still a good bit of smoke in the house. And
Clay, did you know there were animals in the house at that time?
Yes, well, initially when the call came out, like John said, it was dispatched as a car fire.
Okay.
So we get there, and our captain, Jared Cunningham, he got there and he talked to the homeowners. They were already there at the time, and they informed him that the dogs were still in the house. So nobody else was in there, just the dogs. So the car was on fire, and it had spread through the carport, and was probably 25 to 30% of the house was then involved. So when we got there, he radioed us, told us, hey, there's 4 dogs, we need to get them out. So our crew split at the time. Sam Ogle, one of our captains, Sam, he pulled one of the lines. He started initiated the fire extinguishment, and I initiated the search. So Captain Cunningham and Cass Patterson,
Is it dark in the house at that time?
Yeah.
very, very low visibility.
Yeah.
The lower you get to the floor, you can see a little bit better, but it's not great. And when I arrived, not long after Clay had made entry, Jared told me to go find him and help with the search. And I come in and almost immediately see Clay carrying a medium-sized dog out, and we went right back to the room.
Is this a large house or a small house? Or?
Yeah, it was probably 2,000, maybe a little bit bigger square foot.
So what's the normal protocol on something like this? I mean, you got to know where you guys are, and you got to know what's going on inside the house.
It's a case-by-case thing. They're all different.
Right.
But safety is always the number one priority, regardless of the situation we're in.
So, Clay, where did you find this first animal?
So when I went in, I initiated like a right-hand search. So what that is, you'll go in, and like you said, it's so dark in there you can't see anything. So we have a thermal imaging camera. It's called a TIC. So with that, we can see people or animals and stuff like that, kind of see through the smoke. So I went in on a right-hand search, searched through probably 2 or 3 rooms, and then got to the master bedroom. And luckily, all of the animals were in there. They were all hiding in different spots. But with all the smoke, it made it real hard to find them. So luckily, we had that camera, and we were able to find them and get them.
Now, John, did you know at that point there wasn't people in the house?
I felt confident that seeing as how the owner was on scene, if somebody else had been in there, we would have known by now. And the stress seemed mainly on the dog, so I felt comfortable that it was just animals we were looking for.
So, a fire that there are animals in the house, how do animals react to fires?
Well, it depends on what animal it is. Most of the time,
These small animals, large animals, or?
well, there was a couple of them that were bigger, and then there was 2 that were really small.
Okay.
But most animals get out. You know, most animals try to find their way out of a structure, especially cats and stuff like that. They'll get out. But you know, these dogs, they bedded down to where they were comfortable. You know, they were in the master bedroom. There was one of them that was pretty much all of them were around the master bed. There was a couple of them that were still actually laying in their dog bed. So but the smoke had banked so far down that if they would have stayed in there a few more minutes, you know.
So John, they weren't alarmed?
They didn't seem to be. I found one behind the master headboard, and the most concern it seemed to have was when I started reaching for it.
Yeah.
But
Who are you, buddy?
Yeah. But we got them all out, and I mean, they weren't aggressive or anything, kind of docile, just confused, I'd say.
Yeah.
So once you get them out, how do you check them to see if they're okay?
If they're breathing, they're all right.
Yeah.
If there's any burns or injuries or anything, they usually will show. But
Yeah.
that situation, with there not being any actual flames in the room that they were in, it was just been smoke inhalation and fresh air.
So you
Really
don't have
all
to
we could do.
put that oxygen on them or anything?
Not this time.
Not that we have done that before,
Yeah, yeah.
but not this time.
Yeah. Well, that's a good news story, guys, and could have turned out a lot worse.
It could have.
And was the cause of the fire determined?
No, it wasn't determined. You know, we kind of have some thoughts about how it started, but
For right now, it's still just sort of under investigation.
right.
So if you've got pets in the house and all of us should have an escape route, but what about our animals? Where do they plug in here, John, as to taking care of them when the fire breaks out?
If you have one in your lap with you when you notice the fire, by all means, carry it out with you. But if you've made it outside and the fire's still in, you should not go back in.
Mm-hmm.
Just call us and we'll take care of everything else when we get there. But you're putting more lives in danger if you put yourself back into a house fire.
Well, Clay, our fur babies, they're important to us, and a lot of times we're not going to adhere to sanity site. We're going to go back in there and try to find them, and that's very dangerous.
Right, and that's when we do fire prevention with the kids. That's one thing we tell them. Like, if you have your pet with you, sure, take them, but don't go back in. Don't search for your pet. If your house is on fire, just get out. You know, that's the best thing to do. So,
Well, we're glad that everything turned out okay, and all hands on deck were okay. How many firemen were on the scene?
initially, it was me and Sam were the two main firemen. Then you had Captain Cunningham and Cass Patterson. He was our pump operator, so he was operating everything on the truck and getting us all the tools we need.
John, how do you know that your coworker is okay in a house like that? I mean,
Fortunately, we've got like the best group of guys you could hope to ask for. So that takes a lot of the pressure off, knowing that I've got that
can
as
y'all
my backup.
communicate?
Yes, sir. We have radios, and I was fortunate enough that almost as soon as I stepped in the house, I saw Clay running out with a dog, and that was the visual confirmation was all I needed, and he was doing good.
Yeah. So did you go back in after you got the first dog out?
Yes. So I had to take it one by one. As I found one, I would bring one out. So found the biggest dog first, brought him out. Went back in, found the second biggest dog, brought him out, and on my way,
Yeah, that's
that
when
was
I met
when
you.
Station 2 had got there, and then he followed me back in. I found a third dog, and then on my way out, John found the last dog.
John, do dogs appreciate people helping them?
Seem to. These most especially did.
Yeah.
I've met a few that did not. But
Oh, guys, thank you for coming, and job well done, and glad for y'all's safety as well as the animal safety. And I know y'all do these things, teaching kids and teaching families how to stay safe if there is a fire. Before I go this morning, quickly talk about fire prevention. You got no burn orders and stuff going on right now. We hadn't had any rain at all this month, and
Right.
doesn't look like anything's coming real soon either.
Yeah. So you don't want to be burning right now because, like you said, we've had no rain, and if you do decide to burn, which you don't need to, make sure you've got something there with you. Make sure you got some water, water hose, put it
Yeah.
out, stuff like that. But when it's real windy and stuff, and it's real dry like this, it's you can't burn.
All right.
So.
Lieutenant John Bryan and Lieutenant Clay Upchurch were the Sylacauga Fire Department, our guests this morning, and thank you gentlemen both for coming, and stay safe.
Yes,
Thanks.
sir. Thank you.
We got more Daybreak just ahead, don't go away.